welcome back. I'm glad you stayed with us. We've got some great announcements. Aggie Cobrin is here with us. She's an old friend of Right Place TV. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's been a while.
I know. It's been a while for everybody. So.
Okay.
But we're back in the saddle and glad to have you. Wanted to really just take this time to make an announcement about a new partnership we have going on. And so I'm going to just let you take it from here.
Okay. Well, we're used to talking about my events and the events we did together and some of the other projects we worked on. Life took a little twist the last year or two since you and I have spent a lot of time together. And I got involved in the cannabis industry. Of all the interesting things to do in my life, try explaining that one to your 3 kids. I got involved with a client that does a lot of training in the industry, and that took me to, I'll call it sort of the backside of what was going on at the large conferences and things. And as much as I'm used to putting conferences together, this was a different angle. This is a company that does training, and I got them involved in a number of the bigger conferences around the country in the industry, and discovered something really, really interesting about that industry. It is very different now. It's very much based on a lot of things that have nothing to do with smoking. They have nothing to do with what you or I might think of cannabis and marijuana having to do with. The medicinal side of it, the investment side of it, the business side of it, the production side of it. So in a year and a half or 2 years of being at a lot of those events and seeing what went on, I learned a lot about it. I also learned to have a lot of respect for the industry, which really surprised me too. Talked to some incredible doctors discussing the medicinal side of it, talked to investors who'd raised lots of money and made lots of money and also lost lots. And I realized something really relevant, and with my background in media and yours, there was not a good network out there. There was not a good broadcast network out there. If you were a stoner, there was some great cool stuff out there if you wanted to watch it and have fun with it, but there wasn't an educational type network out there. So I got involved with a couple of them, decided they weren't where I wanted to be, and eventually found some partners and formed Canna Media Network. Canna Media Network was basically born 3 months ago. In the fall. It is a broadcast network based on a lot of experience from a lot of people and a lot of background that actually deals with the industry on a very different level. It is a cannabis-friendly network is how I will call it. So about 30% of the content will actually be about cannabis and related.
The business end of
the
cannabis.
business end of it, the medical,
right,
the medical end of it. And the rest of it's like a CNN or an MTV. It's the cannabis lifestyle. And you and I emulate that lifestyle, and that's the interesting part of it. It's a lot of people out there who are open-minded, who are interested, who are curious, who want to see travel and food and medical back information, all sorts of things, where I put it into that category. But we don't smoke. We don't ingest. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do.
I don't.
But we never know.
That's why doesn't smoke or ingest.
We never know who does, I've discovered. But I have discovered that. But I think it's something that's really needed out there. And so one of the things we're doing right now is we're aggregating content. We will be in 180 million homes, by the way. We're going to be on every OTT device, which is, you know, the Comcasts and the Hulus and the Amazons and all of those things. Through a wonderful partner of ours in New York, we are going to have access, and we are going to be represented in a lot of different ways. So we're doing some really cool, interesting things, and this is a group of people in the technology industry, in the media industry, who really understand that end of it. And we're just, you know, we're realizing there's a real gap there, and we need to fill that gap. So
well, even on Facebook right now, you see people advertising in how to invest in the cannabis industry, and all of the other ways besides just selling products that people are making money. And so when they start appealing to the regular person saying, hey, you should be investing in this segment, then it's really important that people have access to information about the segment that isn't coming from someone that's trying to get them to invest. You know what I'm saying? You need to, if you're getting the education from the person who's trying to get you to give them money for investment, it's precarious because you don't know if they're just telling you what you need to hear or if you're really learning something.
Well, and 80% of people are going to lose their money on those investments, just like everything else out there. So they need some really good information. What really hit me was the medicinal side of it. And I had some firsthand experiences with it. I had sprained a wrist on one of these trips, and I was traveling, and I could barely use my arm. And I tried everything, and I was, you know, taking Tylenol and everything else. And I realized I have this CBD cream with me. Why aren't I trying it? And I tried it, and 2 days later, my wrist was perfect. And I called one of these doctors I've been talking to and working with and said, explain this to me. And he said, you had inflammation. Your wrist was inflamed. You had injured it. It was inflamed. You weren't doing the proper things to heal it by putting the cream on. It was just a basic cream lotion that I put on. And so that got me really thinking and talking to lots of people that were very ill, that had asthma, that had seizures, that had a ton of other illnesses, and they were all being helped with this. And then you get kind of curious, like, where's all this coming from? So it really got me thinking, and this was last year, and just being around, seeing what was happening, talking to a lot of people, and by the way, it's the next $20 billion industry. So everybody wants their little piece of it. You know, I missed the tech boom, now I want to be in the cannabis boom.
Right.
So it's really been an eye-opener, and we realize there has to be some good information out there. So the first thing we're doing is we're aggregating about 100 pieces of content, getting the approval from these broadcast networks and elsewhere, because you've got to get approval, and our partners out of New York, NBTV, are the ones who are really helping us with all of this. Took care of all the legal stuff, because there's a lot of legal stuff when you're dealing with this. We will aggregate content. We'll probably end up with about 1,000 hours of content. And as I said, 70% of it isn't cannabis related, it's cannabis lifestyle related. People who are looking for information, are looking for a lot of different things. And then about 30% really will be very, very specifically in that industry, like an like a CNN or or whatever, any of those channels. So it's a lifestyle channel. I'm really excited about it. I think we're going to put out some great information. I think we're going to do some of our own incredible new shows as well. Access Cannabis is one of them. I'll tell you about it. And you're going to be part of that. We've invited you to submit some wonderful content that you've got from the right place from years gone by, so you will be a part of it.
And we have new seasons
and
now.
new
So
season.
all of our new season that we're doing now, yes, yeah, absolutely.
So it's been a lot of fun. It's you know, on the side of my doing many events, and I've got some fantastic partners in this. Some really good partners in this. This is certainly not my endeavor. It's all of our endeavors.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to be a part of the network. We're excited to be able to get all of our message out. Definitely in upcoming topics on the show will be investment side of that industry and what people should be doing, because we talk about money, we talk about, you know, not only just businesses, but for some people, investing is their business. That's what they do. Some people choose real estate, some people choose different industries, and Warren Buffett says you should always invest in an industry that you understand. So one thing about cannabis, it's a little bit easy for most people to understand if you can get past whatever your mindset is.
Right, and I had to get past it. This wasn't something that just happened. This
Well, we grew up in a time where that was definitely a no-no. So it's still, you know, when I see people using it, I know as a physician that there are great medicinal benefits, but I still have that conflicting thing of when we grew up, you know, this is not what you were supposed to do, and if you got in trouble, you might even go to jail. Right. So it's a whole different new world, different ball game, and it does take a little bit of reprogramming.
It took me a year. The medicinal side of it is really what won me over. The medicinal side is incredible, and I didn't know any of those things, so I've learned a tremendous amount. And being a doctor, you could relate to a lot of what is out there and what's happening right now and what we're finding out. So that part's been really incredible. So I'm really excited about it.
Thank you for sharing with us. We'll give you guys some updates. This is a fantastic opportunity for our 8 Place TV show, and all of the guests that we have on there now, we have a bigger distribution to a larger number of people.
Through Canna Media Network.
Canna Media Network, okay. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, ignoring one's conscience is neither safe nor right. I'll see you next time.